Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about weird science. I think I've mentioned this movie a couple times before on the channel. I absolutely love this movie. This is a, you know, classic 80s teen movie in my opinion. I feel like it doesn't get talked about as much as some of the other big John Hughes movies like, The Breakfast Club or 16 Candles, but in my opinion, it's up there with those. It's really good. It's its own thing though. It's uh it's different than like most of the other John Hughes movies, but it still has that same flavor. It's still like a teen-centered drama with a lot of comedy. It's got coming of age elements. It's awesome. But the first thing that I want to talk about is one of the first scenes that I noticed was, one of the early scenes in the movie, and it was when the two main guys get pantsed by Robert Downey Jr.'s character, the other guy, and the reason that I wanted to talk about that, and the reason why that was memorable to me, when I watched it, I'm it was just super relatable because the same thing happened to me when I was in high school, but it was way worse. So this one guy pantsed me, and it was in front of everyone. Because it was like my freshman year, and I was doing cross country, and our locker room was right next to the football field. So when I got back from my run, there was the whole girls cross country team was right there, and then there was a football game going on, and this one guy who he was a cool guy. We were cool. We weren't super good friends. We didn't hang out outside of school, but we were cool with each other. And he was just joking with me. He didn't try to pull my whole pants down, but he pantsed me. I wasn't wearing a shirt because I was running, and he pantsed me, and I was just wearing these little running shorts, so my whole underwear came down, and like everybody saw my thing, and it was bad too, because I don't know if you all, dabble in running, but let me tell you, that will give you some serious shrinkage. So, I was not looking my best. Everyone saw it. You know, he he was he was just trying to get the underwear down, but the whole pants came down, and it was a whole bad thing. I was really mad afterward, and because I was so excited to start freshman year. I'm like, man, I'm making new friends, meeting new people. High school's awesome, and then that happened within a couple weeks or a couple months into high school, and it was damn, and I was kind of pissed about it. But then after a couple days, I'm like, whatever, who cares? It happened. I don't even care. I still got mad confidence, so whatever. But I just thought that was that scene, totally was relatable to me, and it just made me remember that whole story. So I thought I would share that. And then another scene that was kind of relatable was when they were initially starting to make the girl on the computer. They're talking about, she's basically gonna be their new girlfriend or mistress or whatever. And then the one guy says to Anthony Michael Hall's character, he's like, yeah, well, I mean, if she's gonna be our girlfriend or whatever, what about your girlfriend in Canada? And he's like, oh, well, she's in Canada. Those Canadians are crazy. And I thought that was absolutely hilarious. That's like a movie trope. You always hear movie characters say that, but I swear back in the day, kids used to always be on that, where they would have a girlfriend in Canada, and they would show you a picture, and it's a Google image picture of a 10 out of 10 model. At least if you're gonna lie about it, at least pick a 7 out of 10, something realistic. If you look if you're looking a total goober, I mean, not that these guys look like total goobers that I went to school with, but I mean, you're not like a 10 out of 10 model, so it's like you got some 10 out of 10 model in California. Kids would actually say that, like the Canada thing too. Like I feel like my one buddy back in the day said that, like was like boosting, like, yeah, I got the girl in Canada. We get intimate on the reg, and I'm just like, yeah, dude, totally. But that was super darn funny and super relatable. I did talk about this in another vid. I think it was in my Fast Times at Ridgemont High review where I talked about like the whole girlfriend in Canada thing, because Phoebe Cates' character, she like, in my opinion in that movie, it seemed like she was just boosting and she didn't really have this like fiance or boyfriend. I think she was just like, just capping. So she was straight cappuccino. But yeah, I already talked about it, so I'm beating a dead horse here. I bring up the same things in every video, but I thought that was super relatable, super funny. I love that stuff. Moving on, and I know this is all random, but that's my style. If any of you have watched the other videos, I just kind of, what's the word? I do it off the cuff. I just kind of riff. I get on here. It's like a little freestyle. So getting on to another random thing that I thought was cool. I like the scene when you got the I don't know what was the girl's name, the computer generated girl, I forgot. It was like the name of his old girlfriend, but whatever. The the girl like that they made in the computer, she was talking to Anthony Michael Hall's character's parents and trying to get him to go to the party, and she's all like, the only, sexual interaction he has is tossing off to magazines in the bathroom. And then his mom's like, I thought you were blow drying your hair. I thought you were combing your hair. You were tossing off. He's like, Mom, I wasn't tossing off. Like, it was so funny. Like, Anthony Michael Hall was so funny. He was so good in this movie. Just like all his reactions to everything. He was just so like animated, but like not like over the top. Like, he was great. The parents were funny. But I just love that term for like, spanking the salami or, beating the meat. He's saying like tossing off, like that, like that's like I gotta bring that term. I gotta popularize that term. I gotta bring it back. Tossing off. I don't know, something about that term. Every time I watch this movie, I just laugh out loud. It's hilarious. Yeah, I kind of touched on this, but I'm a fan of John Hughes movies in general. I like, of course, Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, Some Kind of Wonderful. I like, I feel like there's other ones that I like, but I can't think of them right now. But, oh yeah, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. There's a bunch more. I don't know, did he write Career Opportunities? I like that. He's done a bunch of stuff, so much stuff. But yeah, I like pretty much all of his movies. I like. And this movie, it has his typical style, his typical flavor, but, like I said, it's like a coming of age teen film. It's a drama, and it has comedy elements. It's like focuses on high schoolers, and they're trying to like, overcome like obstacles in their life and, gain confidence. It's the same deal as like his other movies, but this is like the weirdest one. Like, I feel like all his other movies, probably not all his movies because I think he's done other stuff, but all his like main teen movies are like all based in reality. This has all these like crazy sci-fi elements. Like, it's so unique, it's so cool. I think it like succeeds in the fact that it's different from his other work in that aspect, with all like the sci-fi stuff, that makes it stand on its own, but at the same time it's still a typical 80s teen movie, like he does best. So it's unique, but it's not too unique. It still feels like a John Hughes movie, so I love that. You got a lot of recognizable actors, which I always like. So, seeing some familiar faces is always fun. It, makes me want to watch the movie. Sometimes I do watch movies with no names, but I always like, you know, recognizing some familiar faces. So you got Anthony Michael Hall, of course, Robert Downey Jr., you got the guy who played Grady in Nightmare on Elm Street 2. He's like Robert Downey Jr.'s friend, and they're like these kind of a-hole guys. So the brunette girl that the one guy's trying to get with, I'm pretty sure is the chick in Friday the 13th, the final chapter, that like she gets killed on the raft. She's a beautiful lady. Just shouts out to her. I like those brunettes. You know, they're, you know, beautiful. She's a beautiful lady. But and then I think the blonde girl, I think she was in Return of the Living Dead too. And then you got Bill Paxton is like the a-hole older brother, and he is amazing. Like he just plays the a-hole so well. Like, I mean, I like him as an actor, but I like hate him in this movie because his character is just like such an a-hole. Not over the top, like believable. Like I could totally see an older brother being like that, but I don't understand why. Cause my brother and I are like super tight. Like we're like best friends. Like we pretty much always have been. Cause we're like really close in age. He's like a year and a half younger than me, so we've always been like super tight. We have a bunch of similar interests and stuff, but like I just never understood that in movies. Like these older brothers who are just bullying their younger brother on the reg. Like, you guys are supposed to be a team. You're supposed to be like homies, and he's like, I don't know. He's always trying to take his money and stuff. Like, I don't know. I mean, of course, I feel like that's a real thing that's out there. But I always see these like a-hole older brothers in movies, and it's like I'm not on that stuff. Never have been. So I'm like, can't relate to that. Why would you do that? Like, you guys could hang, you could like party together, you could like, you know, accomplish all kinds of cool things if you weren't such an a-hole, you know? So I don't get that stuff, probably never will. I don't know, you know. It is what it is. So, you know, I'm kind of like running through this stuff, but it's like later in the day, and I don't want this video to be like 50 minutes long. I don't want this video to be like 30 minutes. No one's even gonna watch it. People only watch like like the first couple minutes anyway. So like, you know what I mean? Like, that's why if anyone thinks like I'm going through pretty fast, I got a lot of stuff in my notes here that I want to talk about. I don't want to take all day here, you know? I got stuff to do. Not like anything crazy important, but I do have some stuff to do. So yeah, I think it's a great dramedy, great drama, great comedy. Like, I really care about the characters. They're super likable. They're, you know, super relatable. I like, you know, their arc. I like their growth, how it's like, you know, they're, you know, not the coolest guys. They're not like total you know, losers, but they're like, it's like the show In-Betweeners. They're in-betweeners, you know. They're just like these like guys. They don't have like a huge friend group. They're just like, you know, no one pays attention to them. They're not getting play with the ladies. They're getting picked on, you know, and then they can't like stand up for themselves really, and they don't have like the confidence with the ladies. They get all that. They like in the third act when they like, you know, save the girls and take on all those mutant biker people, like they totally just they're just like so confident. They totally kill it. They just save the day. It's awesome. Like they you know, get the girls in the end. It's a great, you know, like Hollywood feel good happy ending, and it's like cool to see the characters' growth. You know, it's like I'm like rooting for them. I'm happy for them, and it's like cool to see them turn into these like confident, charismatic dudes. And the comedy is also amazing. Just some random lines that I thought I would throw out that I like remembered before the review that were pretty funny is like when they're in the bar, and the one guy, he's like, you know, like, what do you see in this guy? And she's like, oh, you know, it's purely sexual. And then they're at the mall, and she's picking out lingerie, and there's like the little old lady is like the store clerk at the lingerie store, and she's like, like what do you think would turn a 15-year-old boy on? Like I don't think I picked up on that the first time I watched this, but like that's a edgy joke right there, you know, like cuz yeah, like at the end of the day, like I didn't even think about that, but it is kind of weird cuz they're like minors and she's like probably in her 30s or mid to late 20s or something, you know, which I mean it's not weird in the context of the movie because like, you know, they made her on the computer and she's like helping them out and they like they don't even really get intimate with her. She just like she's almost like a prop where like they use her to like look cool and she like boosts their confidence and like helps them with all this magic stuff, you know. She's like their fairy godmother, you know. Just like on some model stuff though, which is not too bad, but I thought that was really funny and after she said that, she's like, what do you think these underwear would turn on a 15-year-old boy?" Super hilarious line. And then the store clerk is like, give me a break, you know. She was like totally over it. She was funny. I mean, there's like countless other funny lines. I already mentioned some of the funny stuff with the Canada line and the tossing off line. I mean, there were so many good lines. I don't have all day. You know, I could name every single line. I could be here for 3 hours, but the comedy was amazing. Like, this is a movie that I laugh out loud at. I think like the jokes are well written. All the comedy hits. Like, there's really none of it that like misses. Like this, the comedy's on point. And then I wrote something about the guy, you know, grabbing the girl's butt at the end, and then I just wrote playa with an A, you know, because that's how I do my notes. You know, I get a little crazy with these notes. You know, I just write it with the slang, you know. But I mean, they do really turn into some players, you know. Said it so nerdy. Some players, they really turn into some players, man. Cool, that was swell. But anyways, yeah, they're like some straight up players. Like he's you know making out with that brunette chick at the end who's like super fine, and then he goes like this is like their first time making out, and he goes for the full on ass grab, dude, and she's like so into it. I'm like, dude, get it. Like they just I mean they go from just you know not having any play with the ladies to like full on players. Like I don't know if I would ever do that like that early on. My dude just went for it. I'm like, respect, dude. So yeah, it's great to see him, get their player stuff on, you know. And then the last thing I want to talk about here is the music. The overall music throughout the whole movie is great. It's got that 80s feel. What more? I mean, you know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. You know, the 80s movies, they have the great kind of like synthy scores. It's not just synthy though. Like I don't know. It's just that 80s type music. It's good. I don't really know how to like articulate it, or like explain it, but it's amazing. And then the theme song by Oingo Boingo is top tier classic theme song. I like movies with theme songs, like not all the time, but I mean like Class of Nukem High with the classic theme song. Like I like a good theme song, and this theme song was good. It worked. And then at the end, there's when Anthony Michael Hall's character is talking to the girl, that song Tenderness by General Public comes on. I love that song. Like the beat is great. I love the hook. That song is also at the end of Clueless, and Clueless is like that's like one of my favorite movies. I love Clueless. I gotta review that on here one day. That'll be a good review. You got my boy Paul Rudd, like fresh off of Halloween 6 and that. But yeah, Clueless is a classic. But yeah, I like that song. I like that whole scene. It fits really well. I mean, what more can I say about the music? The music is phenomenal in this movie. So, I mean, as you can see, like from all my notes and everything that I talked about, I really don't have any complaints for this movie. I really like it. Upon rewatch, it still holds up. It's still the bee's knees. This movie's a classic. So, you know, I pretty much said everything that I have to say. I don't really have anything bad to say about this movie. Every time I watch it, I love it. It's still, as good as the first time I watched it. So, if you haven't seen it and you're a fan of 80s movies, you're a fan of comedies, teenage movies, any of that, definitely check this movie out. This is a must watch. This is a classic. But, I've said everything, everything that I wanted to say about this movie. So I'm going to wrap things up. Thank you all very much for watching, and peace out.